Okay, Heart of Hearts, 3.5 stars. Fans of melancholy, take note. On her debut effort, Hall Perry, former native of the Grey Belt ghostland surrounding Detroit, turns in a 12-song set steeped in the grand tradition of American poverty, heartache, and decay. In part a chronicle of Perry's flight from the barren womb of industrial capitalism to the more robust and musically vital Chicago, Heart of Hearts is a record marked by quiet desperation and desperate quietude. The sound of one artist struggling in solitude to cast off a stifling legacy of pain. That's the italicized review. They played Tuesday night, for beer and tips to a near-empty bar. There were nights that winter when only Kate, Holly's best friend and roommate, was out there listening. She didn't make every Tuesday, but she made most of them. Enough so she knew every song Holly and her band covered. Emmylou Harris, Joni Mitchell, the Carter Family. They preferred the classic stuff, though Holly sang newer artists too. Steve Earle, Gillian Welch, Keaton Wilding. Holly and her band, Patrick on bass and Billy on banjo, fiddle, and musical saw, had been together 6 months and already seemed to have killed whatever the following they might have developed by playing every week at the same dank, sticky floor dive on the far north side. Make your shows more of an event, Kate told Holly. Get a buzz going, build up your web presence. We're still pulling things together, Holly. Holly protested. We're finding our sound. But you could still be getting out there and, networking. Networking? Holly said, putting the word in air quotes. Christ, I don't know, meet people, meet other bands, play somewhere other than this shithole for a change. Kate truly wanted her friend to succeed, but in her impatience with Holly's perfectionism and chronic delaying, she also felt her support curdling into control and at times envy. When Kate saw Holly close her eyes on stage and lose herself completely in song, a shudder went through her, and she despaired that nothing, not work, family, or even sex, could ever exert such a tidal sway over her own life. Still, the nights when Holly Perry and the Cold Cold Hearts played just for her and the bored bartender who watched the Bulls on mute on the TV, felt so private that Kate found herself glaring, shushing, and finally shouting, "Shut the fuck up!" when some group of drunken idiots wandered in, listened to a few songs, then proceeded to fire up the air hockey table in the back corner, and ding ding ding, and high-five their way through the rest of the set. The repetition of the songs week after week, hearing Holly gradually strip away every unnecessary ornament, change the phrasing, change even the lyrics, made her forget exactly how the originals went. She'd come to this music through Holly, and she loved how Holly was now making these songs her own. Toward the end of the night, when the air hockey all-stars had retired, and the lonely late-night regulars drifted in for last call, there were shots. There were 5th and 6th beers, Holly and the band playing loose and a little wild, and Kate taking swings around the room with an old barfly who smelled of corn nuts and danced a gentlemanly lead. There was packing up the equipment in the softly falling snow, one last shot of southern comfort before the girls set off in Kate's Jetta. After the high of performing, Holly was edgy and disappointed. Playing to a practically empty room took its toll. On those nights, Kate would slip Dolly Parton into the CD player, and the two of them would yowl along to Jolene, the first song Holly ever learned on guitar. Okay, Jess and Emily, I'm gonna need you in like 2 pages, okay? I like point. At home, they stayed up drinking and laughing and watching the 3 a.m. dating shows, waking the next morning to hangovers, a big greasy breakfast, and lying around in pajamas until Holly had to go to work. For Kate, the days were long, bright, and lazy. She filled what she needed to with 19th century novels, trashy TV, researching law schools and LSAT practice tests, and the effortless, or almost effortless, routine of friendship took care of all the rest. They met during high school, though they went to different schools. What's that? Regional Honors Choir brought them together. They stood next to each other in the altos. Kate couldn't stop giggling as Holly, crooked teeth, hair dyed black with skunk streaks, bleached blonde, whispering and passing notes, tore apart the girls who preened for the director, jockeying to be chosen for solos. Even when Kate herself won a soloist award for Wind Beneath My Wings at Singabration in Orlando the sophomore year, Holly seemed to consider her the one salvageable case among the rich kids from Grosse Pointe Farms. Kate's parents tolerated her new friend, barely. Her two older brothers had set off towards the opposite shores of stern insurance adjuster responsibility and prolonged surf bum dissolution, leaving Kate marooned somewhere in between. The first few times she brought Holly home, her parents acted like she was staging some copycat rebellion, so she obliged them and started hanging out at Holly's house in Pontiac after school, on weekends and all summer. Holly's mom was cool. She didn't give a rat's ass if the girls smoked cigarettes or pot in a house. Sometimes she even got high with them. Holly's mom had a beat-up silver-tone guitar bought from a Sears catalog that she used to play to pass the time and calm her nerves back when little baby Holly bawled her head off all day and all night. When they got truly baked, Holly and her mom traded the guitar back and forth, and the three of them, Kate included, harmonized together, singing Waylon, Hank, and Dolly. On the chorus of Jolene,
Jolene, Jolene, Jolene, Jolene.
they outdid each other with their vocal histrionics. Then Holly's mom got laid off from Firestone, and things got grim. Because she needed help with the rent, Holly's mom let her boyfriend move in. He dealt weed and pills out of the house, and it both scared and thrilled Kate to see the kinds of people who came around. Holly was forever cussing the boyfriend out for not keeping his business separate from their lives, but he just gave her a wolfy grin and said, "Baby's gotta eat," or something stupid like that. Eventually it became apparent that Holly's mom had gotten hooked on OxyContin, which meant she took the boyfriend's side in things as often as she took Holly's. Kate was proud of Holly for the way she stuck up for herself. The girl didn't take shit from anyone. Then one day Holly turned up on Kate's doorstep with a black eye and bruises coming up all over. At first it looked like the boyfriend's doing, but no, Holly and her mom had come to blows after Holly flushed a bottle of pills down the cracker. College brought a reprieve. The girls both enrolled at the University of Michigan, where Kate hedged her bets, majoring in English to indulge in infatuation with Dickens and the Bronte sisters, and taking pre-law courses to placate her parents. 2 years in, Holly dropped out, forsaking Pell Grants and a partial scholarship to concentrate on her music. She played coffee shops, basement parties, and open mics, and improved on guitar quickly. But she sang so softly no one could hear, and after 15 minutes, everyone was talking over the music. Kate offered to sing harmony. She loved the idea of coming in high and sweet behind Holly, giving the music some warmth and body. But Holly was less enthusiastic. She said she just wasn't hearing another voice in her sound. Here's the review again. Written in a crappy basement, refined at a crappy bar, Perry said of these songs. And indeed, there's something fugitive about this music that picks up only what it can use and discards the rest. Sparse opener, Leaving, all whispered vocals and silvery finger pitting, sets a sepulchral tone. Grown out of you, walked right out on you, Perry intones on the chorus. Miracle Mile takes its title from Pontiac's mile-long truck plant, its desolate imagery and simple two-chord structure, an icy rebuke to the hubris of bygone eras. Chicago is 5 hours from home, but a world away, or at least the neighborhood where Holly wanted to live was. All the coolest venues were there, she told Kate, all the loft parties and Artist Warehouse, all the hippest bars. After Kate's graduation, they packed up her Jetta and made the move. As they pulled away, the sight of Holly's mom crying in front of the house in Pontiac, with its shingles hanging loose and its half-dead lawn, made Kate's gut hurt. Holly just waved goodbye and didn't look back. In Chicago, the girls found a garden apartment that they both could afford. Kate's parents footed her half of the rent, giving her a year to get ready for real life. Holly waited tables. But the coolest clubs were booked solid, no openings for new acts without a following, and they could never seem to find these mythic lofts and warehouses where all the artists were hanging out. As far as Kate could tell, Holly got the gig at the dive on the far north side because no one else wanted it. One afternoon, Kate came home from studying for the LSAT and heard Holly singing in her room. That voice, from high in the chest, not from the belly as they'd been taught in honors choir, always caught something in her. There was a snarl in Holly's voice, something untamed, dissonant even, an undertow of weariness, a barb of spite. Kate leaned in Holly's doorway. Is that new? Who's it by? It's just something I've been messing around with. You're writing? That's great. Holly hadn't told her she was working on originals. She felt wounded but covered with bluster. Well, come on, play it for me. It was a simple song in a minor key. It didn't really sound like country, and it wasn't quite folk or blues either. The flesh on that old music was meager enough. Holly had scoured it down to clean, white bones. Her fingers slipped up and down the frets, making a faint buzz as she changed chords, and she sang, waking up to blank, bright mornings, just headaches, no work, no pay. Can't say I'm real sorry, this life keeps slipping away. In her chest, Kate felt a thrill of panic and excitement, like when she used to overhear Holly fighting with her mom. God, she could only dream of cussing out her own mother like that. The title of the song came in the chorus. Don't ask, 'cause I'm fine. All I need is all I got. These little blue pills and wine. The heat in the lyrics nearly snuffed out by the coldness of the music, but still flaming up around the edges, refusing to die. Holly played the last chord and let it ring out. Kate had to wait a minute before her tongue could unstick from her dry mouth. Hol, it's beautiful, she said, and meant it. Are you going to show it to Billy and Patrick? Are you going to play it at the bar? Holly seemed not to hear. She could go away like this, slip off to some private chamber in her mind, in a way she'd never done in school, when she was all bitterness, sarcasm, and open warfare with the world. Come on, Hol, Kate sometimes wanted to say. You don't have to put an act with me. Holly had met her band through Craigslist. Billy and Patrick were both in their early 30s, former hardcore rockers who'd gone soft and started dudding up in Western wear and growing out their beards. Patrick spent set breaks bullshitting with the bartender, but Billy was a flirt. He was always sidling up to Kate saying, hey, it's our #1 fan. Believe it, #1 with a bullet. She wasn't interested in him, but she returned the flirtation. Maybe because the only guys she met, her LSAT study group, Jesus, not many prospects there, were always trying to drag her out to sports bars and Bulls games. Maybe it was because Billy believed in Holly so deeply, or anyway, he was constantly talking up Holly's talent. She's so raw, you know. Everything she sings, she feels. Billy was already orchestrating their future musical conquest, the record they would make together, the famous bands, huge, but not too huge, they'd open for, their first tour as a headliner, the collaborations with their musical idols. #1 with a bullet, Billy said. Know where that comes from? Billboard used to put bullets next to singles that sold 1 million copies. It said, look, this thing is blowing up. Not that anyone gives a shit about Billboard anymore, he quickly added. When Billy landed the band their first big show, a spot in the Twang Off, a battle of bands for the local country acts, he went around practically crowing. The next week at the bar, a drummer showed up to play with the band. Kate, Billy said proudly, meet Tim. He's a professional jazz musician. The drummer was tall, broad-shouldered, serious-looking, a little sullen. She was immediately attracted to him. Well, a professional. Pleased to meet you. We've met before, right? The drummer said distractedly. I would have remembered you. She gave the you another coy little stress. Feel like I've seen you around, he said, shrugging. For fuck's sake, why couldn't guys ever tell when she was hitting on them? The drummer turned back to Billy. So you're getting paid for this gig, right? The room was packed. Kate scanned the crowd. Girls in fry boots and Doris Day dresses. Boys in seed jackets, seed caps and vintage Wranglers. scenesters. They dressed like anyone but themselves. She found Holly, waved her over to the bar, and bought them both shots. "You'll be great," Kate said. "Don't worry." She hesitated, then added, "This is a party crowd, but just don't think about it." "What's that supposed to mean?" "Just, you know, don't worry if it doesn't go over so well. Be realistic." Holly gave her a hurt look, and she instantly regretted saying it. But hadn't she been there for Holly in all those Ann Arbor coffee shops? All those Tuesday nights at the dive on the far north side? Wasn't it her right, her responsibility even, to try to cushion her against failure? On stage, Holly seemed nervous. She didn't acknowledge the crowd, only bowed her head and tuned her guitar. Fear put a tremolo in her voice for the first verse of "You Ain't Going Nowhere," but by the time the chorus came around, she was amazing. It was the first time she'd sung with a full band through a good sound system, and Kate was stunned, hearing her so clearly, how far her friend had come in 6 months. Patrick and Tim were solid and unobtrusive. Billy, on the other hand, fell to pieces. On "Your Cheatin' Heart," he played in the wrong key, and in the second chorus of "Amanda," he messed up the melody line. When he took up his musical saw for "Orphan Girl," he cut himself, and someone had to run and get toilet paper and a Band-Aid. He was ready to soldier on and play the last song, but Billy waved him off. "I'm going to give the boys a little break," she said. Holly waved him off. "I'm going to give the boys a little break," she said, "and play y'all a new one." And then Holly sang "Little Blue Pills and Wine." The room went still. People quit talking. It was almost too much to take. Kate saw the house in Pontiac again, the blinds drawn, candy wrappers and beer cans all over the coffee table. Holly's mom nodding out on the couch. She felt the cold of the windows, saw the empty streets and boarded up houses. She saw the photos of Holly's dad, who split when Holly was born, hidden away in drawers, and the old guitar with its broken strings stashed somewhere out of sight. Holly let the last chord ring out. Slowly the crowd woke up. A few people clapped loudly. Others seemed confused. Kate was right. This was a party crowd. But it didn't matter what anyone else thought. When Holly made it back to the bar, Kate gave her a long, fierce hug. "That was amazing," she said, unable to put what she felt into any other words. Holly, too, seemed overwhelmed. They didn't have long to revel in the feeling. The next band was already starting. The singer wore jean shorts and a rag of a t-shirt. He had a disheveled Prince Valiant haircut and a tattoo of 2 snakes twined in the neck of an electric guitar down the length of his arm. "I'd like to twang off every night before bed," he drawled into the microphone, and then shouted out, 1, 2, 3, 4. That actually happened to my band. The band that followed us, they blew us away, and that's what the guy said. The band was called the Pickup Fucks, and they drowned out the memory of Holly's set with sheer volume. After a couple songs, even Holly was bopping along. Across the room, Billy stood aghast. The battle was lost. Except for dirty Prince Valiant, the Pickup Fucks had all had bushy wild man beards. They put Billy's and Patrick's beards to shame. Thanks a lot.